Hello, business building warrior. This is your host, Jim Cockrum. Welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. Actually, I'm just the opening commentary host today. We'll be turning it over to Brian and Robin Joy in a few minutes. They're going to interview one of the great coaches on our team and talk about some observations about the community, some things they've learned recently. We'll get into that in just a moment. But I'm doing the opening segment today, just saying, hey, thanks for joining me. Thanks for being a part of this community. If you happen to be one of the handful of people who watch us on YouTube, hey, most of our listeners are listen only. They're on their favorite podcast app right now. But if you're one of those few people who actually watches us on a screen, I'm doing something that I've never done in the 800 plus almost 900 episodes of this show. To my knowledge, I don't think I've ever worn a sport coat. And that's not significant, of course. Who cares? Jim's wearing a sport coat today. But I thought it'd be a nice reminder. I just came from an event where I had to get dressed up a little bit to kind of fit in, and it's like a professional business networking event. And I don't do a lot of those types of things up until about a year or two ago. I started becoming more intentional about being present locally, meeting local connections. And the ripple effects of that have been dramatic, picking up new clients, new opportunities, great conversations. I'm able to make good connections that lead to just positive things. Nothing but good things can come from that. So I'm wearing my coat only to make a point that, hey, as an e commerce entrepreneur, business building warrior, you got to get out from behind your computer. You got to spend time going to events. And at our event, you certainly don't have to get dressed up. I think I was the only person wearing a suit in the whole 800 people at our last event. But I just wanted to show everyone there how seriously I take the event, and that's fine there. But I'm not saying you got to get dressed up, but this is just a nice reminder. This code's a visual reminder, getting out of your comfort zone a little bit, maybe getting a little more dressed up than you typically do as an e-commerce business builder, and going to meetups, networking events, other business builders, ask them, hey, what are you working on? Is there anything I can help you with? And I had some of the most interesting conversations today. I know more people than I realized. People coming up and saying, hey, I've been meaning to meet you. I want to talk to you about some ideas. There's just so much opportunity out there. So while, yes, this is an e-commerce podcast, yes, we do focus on how to build multiple income streams using the internet creatively to build that dream job that you can work from home, that business, and have those smooth flowing systems, right? That are all feeding your bank account. We love that stuff. But we've said for years, since this podcast launched in 2016, I believe, we've said many, many times, hundreds of occasions, relationships are key. Relationships are vital. When someone's struggling, it's the relationships aspect of their business that is the key to them finding the solutions that they need. I've seen it over and over again. So get out, meet new people. This is an encouragement. And it's actually a nice segue into what we're going to talk about with Brian, Robin Joy, and a great coach on our team, Trevor. And they talk about our most recent events, some lessons learned, how they interacted with people. And if you weren't aware, these events typically with e-commerce type of folks, it's a lot of introverts. So you got to kind of be intentional and make a plan. I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to learn how to start up a conversation and end one and move on and have the conversation with people and add value to their life and ask them the right questions and provide value to the people there. You're going to walk away with probably one of the most powerful things you can walk away with is a list of names and contacts of people that you can follow up with. That's a bit of a theme on today's show as well. But here's what I want to hit before we dive in. If you happen to be new to our show, here's a brief overview. I really want you to go back in time and spend some time listening, not just to the leadership team from our community, but I think some of the most valuable episodes where we interview the successful students from our community. And we're very proud of that on this podcast. If you scroll back in time, you're going to find hundreds of students who have used the proven Amazon course training. You can go to silentjimdotcom to get all the information you need about that course. That's our flagship training course. We've got everything in there from newbies who are completely clueless and they're trying to ramp up and get started to people who've been doing this a while. They're looking to add revenue streams. They're wanting to do some creative things with Amazon. There's so many ways that you can make money with Amazon, but we start everybody with the same basic place if you're new. And we're really good at helping newbies get their confidence, get going. And then from there, there's many creative strategies that you can deploy off of that initial momentum to begin to build multiple income streams. So we love to see you systemize, add streams. It's kind of creating that redundancy, diversifying your risk, if you will. That's why we love these concepts. And it's just really fun to launch new income producing businesses, to have these income producing assets online that you're managing and putting good people in charge of, building systems. That's what we do here. But if you're new, don't be intimidated or overwhelmed by that. You're going to start off with one very simple system. We call it the Amazon REPLENS system, which is helping fill the underserved shelf space at Amazon. And our hosts today, they're going to talk a little bit about that. But Trevor, our coach, has begun finding even more exciting results as he's moved away from that into the next stage of his business, which he describes, and you'll hear more about that as well. It's more content and strategies that you can learn from us if you're interested. And I just got to brag on our coaching program. We've got 60 coaches on our team. You don't have to get a coach, but if you want to work one on one with someone who's been very successful at the business strategies that we teach in the Proven Amazon course, well, you can do no better than to find one of the most successful students who we've turned into a coach. And now you can work one on one with them, and you get all kinds of other benefits as well being in our coaching program. If you want to get more details on that, hey, schedule a call with us. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about your business, your dreams, your plans, where you're at, how well positioned you are to get into this. We've helped thousands of people build robust, beautiful businesses. It's not for everyone, but we'd love to have a free conversation with you with a consultant. Go to silentjimdotcom/book a call, all one word, silentjimdotcom/book a call to see our calendar, grab a slot that's convenient, meet someone on our team. I take some of those calls myself from time to time. These are all people that I love, trust, and respect who will be spending some time with you, helping you think through what your best options are. Maybe it's not coaching. Maybe it's something far simpler than that, that you can kind of wade into this. But some people are ready to go further, faster, and they're positioned for it. Well, that's the people we love to see talk to our coaches. Well, we've got a great show for you today. Again, I'm going to let Brian, Robin, Joy, and Trevor take the ball from here in just a moment. But they spend some very valuable time not only recapping the experiences of our most recent event, but talking about Trevor's business, some of the creative things that he's doing that are working really well, some of the exciting things we have coming down the path for the community as well. So thanks for spending a few minutes with me. I really value this time that you give to us, and we treasure that. We know that it's a big investment for you. So let's jump over and spend some time with the team now. Take it away, guys.
Welcome back to Silent Sales Machine Radio. We are your co-hosts. I'm Brian.
And I'm Robin Joy.
And this is Coach's Corner.
Hey, everybody.
We are happy to welcome a special guest with us today, Trevor Neal, who's one of the coaches in the Jim Cockrum coaching program. Welcome to the show, Trevor.
Welcome.
Hey, thanks, Robin. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, of course. You and I had the opportunity to chat just the other day, but we got to catch up a little bit at the Proven Conference. And I'm glad that it was kind of after everything was like sort of dying down, that what Robin calls the end of summer camp moment when nobody really wants to leave.
Right. Right. Yeah, it was a great event. And it was really nice to actually meet you in person there.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, it's beyond all the people stopping me in the hallway and, hey, let me pick your brain on this. I really wanted to put, meeting the other leadership team as a priority instead of looking at their Facebook profile picture and, so
I'm glad you did, because we don't usually have a whole lot of time to talk to each other during that conference. And so that was great timing. So I was glad that you made it a point to come and meet us. So appreciate that.
Definitely.
Yeah, likewise. So what we want to do today is just kind of talk about how you got started in the Amazon space, and then we'll spend a little bit of time there, and then kind of get into what your coaching experience has been like, and we'll have some conversations along the way. So why don't you just start off by sharing with us kind of how you got started in the Amazon space?
Yeah, so it was 2018. I started off in private label, of all things, supplements. So I really didn't know what I was doing. And I figured, okay, it's going to be on Amazon. Everybody's on Amazon. So we'll sell out quick. I'll make money, yada, yada, yada. I'll retire. So I didn't know anything about PPC, advertising, Amazon in general. I just knew that was in the Amazon warehouse. So long story short, failed at that. And I knew I could do something else because other people obviously on social media were doing stuff. So that's when I started doing drop shipping, done for you stores, liquidations, all the stuff that you're not supposed to be doing.
At least not when you're brand new, right?
Yeah. So I literally, did it, tried it, didn't have any success. Did that on and on for a couple of years. And that's when I found the community and I found out about RA and OA. And I was like, man, you can really go into Walmart and Target and buy stuff and flip it. And then Jim was emphasizing underserved ASINs. And I'm like, perfect. Because, for example, and I use this example with my coaching students and other people as well. Think about that mechanic in Ashtabula, Ohio, where I was bundling shop rags from Lowe's and selling them at an upmark price. What's more easier for that mechanic in the middle of Ashtabula, Ohio, to drop what he's doing, go to a Lowe's or Home Depot, purchase some shop rags, and go back to work? Just think about so much time he's missing away from his job. Or if there's even a Home Depot or a Lowe's even around. So what's he going to do? He's going to pull out his phone. He's going to go to Amazon Prime, and he knows within Prime's promise, it's going to be on his doorstep between 1 and 2 business days.
Yep.
So got involved into that, and I pivoted to opening up my own agency where we help brands and businesses get on Amazon, just maximize their potential. I started Click Me Pros in the middle of 2022. And I've pivoted, also started implementing more branded bundles and private label into my business as well. And not so much doing replens and RA and OA. So agency, branded bundles, and private label is what my genre now.
Okay. That's great. So you now, from when you started kind of doing all the wrong things to today, you feel like you got like a master's degree in how to do business on Amazon?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I also emphasize this too. Get out there and you fail a lot. If you're not failing, you ain't trying. If you ain't trying, you ain't succeeding. So this
I like it.
this business journey can't look like this. Can't look like a straight line up. It literally has to look like this.
Yeah.
There's trials and tribulations to success. So, and in those trials and tribulations, you have to fail. You have to learn from your mistakes. You have to pivot.
Is the great point. Like you mentioned right off the bat, like you did private label, you failed. So then you tried some other things and you failed. And I don't think anyone would blame you if you stopped, if you gave it up after the first failure, and then you got the second failure and the third failure. And then I'm sure that if you're, as with any business, there's failures daily. It seems like that you are having to overcome, but you stuck with it. What was it that sort of drove you to stay committed to what you were doing in the midst of all this failure?
You really don't give up on yourself. You don't want to be 75, 80 years old and think back, oh, what if, what if I did this? What if I did that? You want to do it now, because that's the worst thing to have, is when you're sitting in a nursing home or somewhere and you have regret. So, and just don't give up on yourself. People are going to fail. So like I said, if you ain't trying, if you ain't failing, you ain't trying.
Yeah. Oh,
I like it.
Yeah, that's great. I remember seeing you posting some success stories in the community when you did launch your branded bundles and found some pretty awesome success. Maybe share a little bit with us about what that has been like for you.
Yeah. So, and I said this probably 100 times during the Orlando. I should make T-shirts up next time. People buy keywords; they don't buy products. And my students can attest to this. They're sick of me saying this, but it really is true. You can have the best product out there, but if it's not optimized right, you're going to stay on page 40. So how I find my bundles is I literally reverse search off of a generic keyword, or what I call a long tail keyword. It just goes back to the fact that people are typing in these specific keywords and looking for that product. So I really want to match up my long tail keywords with my products that I can get at a good price. Not only a good price, but a quantity too. So you have to understand that putting together a branded bundle, it's private label. It's the farm system for private label. So we want, especially if you're a brand on Amazon, we want to stay in stock at a good quantity. I don't want you running around the Target and Walmart and just clearing the shelves. I want you to have a viable wholesaler or a good distributor to where we can ship in hundreds at a time once, it's successful.
Right. I absolutely agree with that in that space. I want to just make a clarification for those who are listening who are new and they're not ready for the branded bundles yet. That is not the case for the replan system. When you're reselling on community listings, you don't have a responsibility to keep that listing full. This is a different strategy. So I just wanted to pull that in there.
Yeah.
Don't want anybody to be confused.
That's great. When we were first sort of getting started in our first 18 months or so, we made a number of bundles. We weren't in brand registry, but we had made some bundles, and they were all based off of the products that we were getting retail. And we didn't have any wholesale relationships at the time. And so the listings we were making were retail. And then one of the challenges, the biggest frustration point that I remember having is I could only get 9 of these.
Yeah.
And I could sell, it felt like I could sell 900 if I could get them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you definitely don't want to be in that situation. I mean, it's a good situation to be in, but it goes to that reverse sourcing method. Okay. Can I get it at a good quantity? Are people looking for it? Okay, let's kick it off. So a lot of people will start with, they'll find it on Walmart and Target and they'll put it together. Oh, it's profitable. Let me start there. No, you need to start literally at the end of the road and work yourself backwards.
Yeah, this is an example of how this is an advanced strategy that's very different. Each of these strategies that are in the Proven Amazon course are very different from each other. So they all have their own ways of doing. We've found exactly the same thing, though, Trevor. We've found that even though we may not have a source that makes it less expensive because it's a wholesaler, it gives us the quantity that we need on a regular basis that we can count on. And that's way more important in that space.
Yeah, when you're doing that space and you're moving hundreds of units a month per ASIN, you need the quantity, not necessarily the price.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And then another good thing when you start on branded bundles, you get so good at it that you can move to private label because your keyword research has, you really know what you're doing and you know what you're looking for. So it's a lot easier to work on the top of the pyramid, sort of say.
Yeah, exactly. I was saying that was the vision I was just going to, or the visual I was just going to explain is like, we start everyone with REPLENS because this is like the farm system for understanding how Amazon works.
Right.
Right. You have to get to know the beast, the rhythm of the beast and the pitfalls that exist for everyone out there. And you can really cut your teeth in the REPLENS game. And then you can go into a branded bundle situation. You already know the ins and outs of dealing with Amazon. Now you're learning this new skill, which is, doing keyword research and setting up pay-per-click campaigns and establishing wholesale relationships that you don't want to take all of that stuff on when you're just first getting started, or you'll have an experience maybe similar to what you had.
Yeah. And I also put it as a military analogy. So on the bottom, private, you're a PV1, PFC, sergeant. You don't want a private doing sergeant major's work, which is private label. So you want a brand new Army private doing private level stuff, getting to know the Army, the rules and regulations, getting to know Amazon, the rules and regulations before we move to wholesale, which would be sergeant level and so on and so on.
That's a great analogy. I like that a lot.
I like it. It's setting that person up for success where it would not be setting them up for success to skip those ranks and not go through that experience level by level.
Otherwise, you're just throwing them to the wolves, which is kind of good in sort of a sense. I mean, you'll learn fast depending on the person, but it's not the way to really do things.
You'll figure it out or you'll quit, right?
Yeah,
it's definitely higher.
The risk is higher. Yeah.
For sure.
All right. So eventually you moved into the coaching team, joined the coaching team last year, coming up on a year of doing this now. What was appealing to you about doing coaching?
Just really giving back. And I found out that I did have a teacher's heart because I was hosting meetups and I love all the questions and I just love helping people because when I needed help back in 2018, no one helped me. It's literally reverse karma, sort of say, and just just because I know there's someone out there that's just like me and who knows that he or she will succeed. And they just need a little bit of help. And maybe I'm their saving grace, but who knows?
One of the things I think about this community is that it's a real strong, tight community with great leadership,
Mhm.
like yourself, and you see where the need is. And
Yeah.
maybe backtrack a little bit before you got into coaching. How did you find the community?
I was actually going to do Amazon
Mhm.
or Airbnbs.
Okay.
So Facebook is pretty much good for groups. So I was in an Airbnb group, and then I'm thinking, there's got to be an Amazon group. So I started looking, and then I found the Silent Sales Machine. I did a little bit of research, and then I hopped in and started reading the posts, the success stories. I joined Pack. I watched Jimmy Smith's old 0 to 100K videos. And I was like, wow. So I was like really astounded. And I went from there. And I kind of learned on my own through Pack. And I already knew like the Amazon space. I already had an account and I was familiar with it. But this really kind of accelerated me from preschool to kindergarten. So yeah, that's how I found the community.
Okay.
Researching.
Well, that's great. Well, we're glad you're here, and
Yes, we are.
and you have the right mindset, which is teacher's heart. And you spent some time in the military. Thank you for your service, by the
Yeah,
way.
thank you for your service.
So you've got like a good understanding about how to lead and
Yeah.
to serve, and pile a teacher's heart on top of that. That's what is the magic, I think, that makes this community tick.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and it's just just like you said, it's a combination of things. And I think of the Justice League. We have Batman,
Sure.
Flash, Superman. Batman doesn't have Superman powers, but they all rely on each other as a team. And that's really what this community is, especially the coaches and the leaderships are a team. I just answered a question today in the coaches group from Grant about product partnering.
Hmm.
So
Mhm.
I know Grant does a lot of wholesale, and I don't do wholesale. So that's how we work right there as a team.
Yep.
Yeah, it is nice to have all the other coaches that you can talk to and help whatever client that you're working with. You have all that support from the other coaches. We use it all the time ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Great.
you have to. You'd be stupid not to.
So tell us about your like first coaching experience, when you got your first coaching client. Were you nervous? Were you ready to hit the ground running? Were you like drill sergeant to
No,
them,
no.
or how did that go?
I'm actually a super nice guy. I get a lot of, oh my God, this guy looks so intimidating, but I promise you, I'm a super nice guy. But it was a replen student. And at first, when I get my students, I want to know them a little bit on a personal level, just like, okay, hi, what issues do you have? Let's hit the ground running. So I think that's really important to know them a little bit on a personal level, just to develop that, relationship, and then roll into, okay, what's your goals, short term, long term, where you see yourself, what that more aligns with goals. Where are you at now? What's your sales? What issues are you having? But getting back to your question, I was a replan student, and I had to dust the old book off. I guess that's a saying. So, and I knew what to do, but it just took me a little bit. And I have a particular way I look for replans, so I showed him that. And I always recommend, hey, you guys need to get into Brian and Robin's Keep a course, because that is like literally where it's at. I am not proficient in Keepa. I mean, I know how to read a Keepa chart, but the way you guys go deep down into it, like I would helium 10,
Yeah, yeah.
that's like night and day. But I always recommend your course. So with your course, what I'm showing them, they have the community. It's really up to them. Like if they fail, it's on them. And
Hmm.
I like really emphasize that. Like you have everything. You have a proactive, a reactive coach. You have the community. You have pack videos. Like there's no excuses. Like that's one thing I take. Like I don't like excuses because like, well, look what I went through.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, I don't like excuses. So I hold them very accountable.
Love that.
without yelling.
Well, and that's a lot of times what those clients are looking for. They need somebody to just, there's so much life going on when they're trying to get this thing built. They just need somebody to help hold them, tether them to their goals and what they've committed to do for themselves.
Mhm.
So I think
Exactly.
accountability is a big part.
And I know everybody learns differently, which is totally understandable. So I adapt to them and their learning skills and how fast they're tracking. So, but at the end of the day, it's like, hey, you paid a lot of money to talk with me, and your reactive coach, utilize it.
Yeah.
100%. I like to tell new coaching clients that we get, like, it's you, sometimes your partner,
Mhm.
your proactive coach and your reactive coach, and you've got a mastermind right there. And we haven't even tapped into the community yet, which is
Mhm.
a great extension as well. But you've got a mastermind of people who know what's
We all
you
have
might
the
be
same
learning,
goal,
but yeah, we're all rowing in the same direction, right? Trying to
right?
get to the same place.
Trying to
Yes,
make you
exactly.
successful. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, you are focusing in the branded bundle space now. What
Mhm.
is so most of your clients are going to be your coaching clients are going to be seeking that out. How does that differ from, or you maybe a little compare and contrast from the first Replen student that you got?
Yeah, so it's definitely night and day. Different kind of softwares, obviously, with private label and branded bundles. I'm utilizing Helium 10, and it all goes back to people buy keywords, not products, for the 50th
Yeah.
time. So I literally show them a real nonchalant session on what Helium 10 does, and how powerful it is, and how we look for products, versus the replan side, where let's type in great value and see what comes up, and kind of start our trailhead through there. So we're starting literally with branded bundles. We're starting our trailhead through a keyword.
So what I find in the replen space, like, there's usually the very first hurdle that is the biggest one that everyone struggles with, is the I can't find anything situation.
Mhm.
What is it when you're doing branded bundles? Do you have like one of the hurdles that once you get people over that one, the rest of it is going to happen?
Yeah, so I'll get that a lot. I can't find anything. So that's when I show them the black box method, which I
Uh,
showed you yesterday.
yeah, you
Um,
did.
so, and it goes back to, okay, what can you get at a good quantity?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Okay, not only that, but if they were coming from the replen side, what replen was your hottest selling item? Okay, the shampoo. Okay, where can we get the shampoo? Can you get the shampoo at a good quantity? Let's look up the shampoo on Amazon. Let's see if there's any other bundlers. If there is, what their numbers are doing. Okay, if we can fit in that space, how can we be different? Let's utilize a branded comb, or I'm the last person to talk about shampoo.
It's a great
uh,
example, Trevor.
yeah, I know. I just work on my examples. So let's work on, I don't know, a shower cap, or a unique item in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
So, and we literally just go from that. And when private label and branded bundles, that's the number one thing. You have to be different from your
Mm.
competition. And I always say three things: a very clickable hero image. Your second image is a thorough breakdown of your branded bundle, like what are you getting? And the third is what I like to call a beneficial image, whether it be mom with it in the kitchen, or the kids with it out in the yard. How will this bundle benefit your life, sort of
Mhm.
say? And the rest of the images, I'll put, really good lifestyle images. But the image carousel has to tell a story, because people are lazy. The optimized listing has already got you there. We're not going to read the product description, the bullet points, the title. No, it's already got the customer there. 90% of the customers make their purchasing decision after the second image. So I literally, from a boxing standpoint, I want a good jab and a real hard uppercut.
There you go.
Yeah.
And the images have to tell a story, and the story has to sell the customer where they can click and convert.
Yeah, that's awesome. What do you mean by the hero image?
Yeah.
So the hero image is your first image that you see on Amazon. let's just say, going back to my shampoo bottles again. So if you're typing in Aussie shampoo and you're scrolling, you're looking for Aussie shampoo, the purple bottle, how can you differentiate your hero image, your first image, the one that shows up, versus your competitors? Whether I know supplement companies do this a lot, where they'll put a splash of flavor in the background of the hero image. That just catches your eye. It just gets it very clickable. Really emphasizes the flavor. I know a lot of barbecue seasonings have like the garlic and the other, like the jalapeno in the corners. Just something to be different from your competitors, because you want clicks. And once you get the customer into your ASIN, you want to convert them.
I like it. That's really some good tips.
My mouth is watering with garlic and steak. I'm like,
Bryce had a long day. Well, yeah. So what kind of things do you have for like everybody who's looking at doing this? Do you have any kind of tips or any questions that you answer commonly, something that we can take away?
Not really.
On the spot.
Yeah, I would say, there's motivation and there's determination. Let's just say going to the gym. I can be motivated to look good and go to the gym, but I have to be determined to get up every day, even when I don't want to go to the gym, and because that end goal is to look good, because we know summer's coming around. And from a business aspect, we're thinking about the $100,000 sales months, $200 million years. Okay, in order to get there, we have to put into work. We have to be determined. We have to have that determination. Motivation, we can be motivated for so long, but we have to be determined, even when we don't want to do things. Like, there was stuff with my business that I really didn't want to do this morning, but I did them.
Me too.
But in order to succeed in this game, you have to have determination.
I love it. That's great. That is one of a lot of times the mechanics of Amazon, you can figure that stuff out. That's all solvable.
Right.
I think we've said before, like the longest journey to your dream coming true on Amazon takes place between your ears. And that's that determination that you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, just building that belief and knowing that if you do it, you will get there. Keep taking steps forward.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's really good stuff, Trevor. Sounds like you read a lot.
I actually don't. The last book I read, Stover put me on, and it was really good. It was called Who Not How. You guys probably heard about it.
Yep.
And it's really good from a business aspect, because he had this problem as well, and he noticed it in me, where I tried to do everything myself. It's basically, how can I do this, instead of having a mentality of who can I get to do this. So it really kind of delegates stuff so that you can work on the things that only you can work on. Will your margin get smaller? Absolutely, but you'll scale a lot faster, because you're not running around trying to figure out how to put tape on boxes, how to optimize listings, and how to help clients. So it really emphasizes, like, who can I get to do this?
That's great.
I like it. I
that
like
too,
it.
yeah.
I do find myself a lot saying that you really, in the beginning, you need to do things yourself so that you know how you want them done.
Absolutely.
Set up your SOPs. But if you do it as the only person who's ever going to do it, you're never going to be able to lay that off, because you're making decisions as you're going, and you have to have those decisions made ahead of time and work on that while you're doing it yourself, so that you can give it to someone else. So I think it's important to have that mentality, even if you're not ready to have someone else work for you.
Exactly.
Just yet.
Yeah. So, Trevor, I know you've been coaching coming up on a year now. Are you still taking new coaching clients?
Yes, I am.
Great. Now, and you can teach someone REPLENS, but let's just be clear, your specialty is going to be in the branded bundles.
Yeah, so my specialty, exactly. So it's going to be in branded bundles, Helium 10, private label, keyword research, product partnering. So that's another aspect of my business. If you find like a coffee brand out in town that you want to get on Amazon, so I help some of my students do that as well.
That sounds great.
Well, Did you have something else there?
Oh, I was just going to say that, a lot of times people come into the coaching program, they're not all brand new. They've got established businesses, and then they want to move into some other strategies, and you can help with those.
And that's exactly where I was at in 22. And that's when I got linked up with coaching, because I've already been doing Amazon for a year and a half solid. And I knew what I was doing, but in order to take that next step, I knew that I needed real help.
Yeah.
Yeah. The smartest people in the world have coaches. There's a reason. There's a reason for that. Yeah.
So, and I can vouch for Trevor's helium-10 foo.
Yeah.
Like when we got on the call, he's explaining stuff to me, and I was like, "Wait, what?" and we've subscribed to Helium-10 for a long time. We've got plenty of branded bundles out there, but just a couple of tips. And this is what you were talking about earlier. Like we all have our own little, our own perspective, our own take on how to do things. Your specialty might be the four-seam fastball. My specialty might be the knuckleball or whatever. And it's just like you find that groove and you tend to stick in it. So when I met with you and picked up a couple of new tricks, I felt like a whole new aspect of this business opened up for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm such a Helium-10 geek. We could have been on that call for 3 hours.
we could have.
It's such a powerful software. It's like you can see people's PPC campaigns, like where they're ranking for organically, what they're paying for. I'm such a geek.
That's awesome.
That's great. So you are taking new coaching clients. Any last things come to mind you want to chat about before we wrap this up?
No, not off the top of my head. Just stay accountable. If you're in this business and you get into something, there's a reason why. And don't just fail out or flake out, because I've seen a lot of people just give up on themselves and just flare out.
Yep.
Hang in there. Push through that barrier.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, all right. Well, we thank you so much for coming and joining us, Trevor.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Talk to you again. Hopefully it won't be so long before we talk to you.
I know.
Again, but yeah, we'll be around the community.
I would say sometimes it takes the conference to get us together.
Yes.
And I'm glad that it did. And we do appreciate you taking the time to meet with us and chat with everyone tonight. Really appreciate your insights, and just really happy that you're a part of the leadership team here and the coaching community here with Jim Cockrum and everyone. Excited for you and excited for the community as a result of you being here.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks for having me again.
You bet. Thanks, Trevor. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. See you soon.
Okay. Bye.